Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us again on this month's episode of Boys and Girls Club's Clubcast. I am Marissa Gleockler, and today I am joined by Cecilia, who works for South State and is also our board member. She's very involved in a lot of different aspects of the organization, so I'm very excited to talk to her a little bit about workforce readiness, financial literacy programs, and of course we have our upcoming Youth of the Year, which she is chairing this year, which is very exciting. So to get things started, I love to ask every guest how they got involved with Boys and Girls Clubs back in the beginning and what really drew you to the clubs.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me. I would love to answer that question. I actually first got introduced to the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County. I was invited as a judge for, I believe it was the 2019 program. And the program itself takes the candidates through so many different aspects of the development, but I was able to see the final product of the candidates, and so I was able to hear their speeches and their story, and they did it so eloquently and with so much passion. I remember thinking, wow, I mean, this is a tremendous feat, and at their age, it was just so impressive, and I thought, how can I get more involved? And through the years, I would see what the organization was doing, especially through COVID and all of the meals they were providing, and how the youth was a big participant in that as well. And so when the opportunity presented itself, I was very happy to serve and very excited to see, how I could lend my time, my expertise, anything that I could to such an impressive organization. So and it's just interesting that now, full circle, I was introduced to the program, and now I get to chair it. So it is exciting times, and looking forward to doing a good job for the program.
I think Youth of the Year is one of those things that kind of ropes everybody in. That's definitely how I got involved as well. 2019, do you remember, was that Amy's year that she won Youth of the Year?
I don't recall.
There's been so many that have gone through the program and gone on to do so many amazing things. And I want to say 2019 was Amy's year, she's a club director now.
Yes.
So that's super cool. It literally all goes full circle.
It does go full circle. And I was actually speaking to the other co-chair. I'm co-chairing this with Shrita Walker. And same story. She was introduced through the Youth of the Year. But I think it's because you get an opportunity to see the candidates at such a close, with such a close interaction. And again, they're very open about their experience with the club, which I think does rope individuals in, and they get to see what the clubs are all about and how that impacts the candidates' everyday lives, and their relationships with the club directors, with the staff, and so you get to hear a lot of the behind the scenes that you probably wouldn't be able to otherwise. So it was very exciting, and absolutely instantly interested in being involved.
Yep, that's how it always goes with Youth of the Year. So you you judged Youth of the Year in 2019. What year did you join the board?
I joined the board, I believe it was in 2021. So a couple years later, I was given the opportunity. And when I was interviewing for the position, I talked a lot about how excited I was to serve, and my experiences growing up. I was a migrant child, so when I was growing up, my parents would travel for work, so I would show up to the school year a little bit later than the rest of the kids. And so I distinctly remember my migrant advocate helping me tremendously through those school years. And without her, that additional help, I just don't think that I would have had the same outcome with my education. So Diana Stark, if you hear this, I want to be just like her and provide similar services to our youth. So,
well, what a coincidence, because January, I don't know if you know this, is actually National Mentoring Month.
Oh, wow.
So you can
No.
speak firsthand on the whole concept of mentorship and how it affects people. And, we see it every day, like you said, the impact that one individual can have on a child or on a teen. And it's such pivotal years in their lives that without that piece, I think they're just they don't know what direction to go in, what the next step is. And I think a lot of times you get that in the school setting, and then after school hours, you don't see that as much. So I think the clubs help bridge that gap.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to credit my parents, they were doing the best they could, but I think having that additional individual present in my life who was able to guide me or to, like as you mentioned, bridge any gap was imperative. And so I believe that that's what the clubs do for our youth of St. Lucie County, and they do it very well. And we get to hear the feedback of the candidates through the Youth of the Year speeches and their interviews. And so just commend you guys for offering those services because it is very important for them to receive it. And it changes people's lives.
So you joined the board in 2021. Not too much time has passed, but I think each year is jam-packed with a bunch of new initiatives and different things going on. What have you seen within the organization in that time that has shown growth, or seen the programs grow, the kids grow? What have you experienced?
Well, I actually have been very busy since then, so I have seen a lot of things within the organization. I think the biggest thing was the introduction of the 3 pillars when I first came on board, and I very quickly volunteered for the workforce readiness pillar, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Yes.
But just, having clear focus on what the future looks like for the clubs and intention for our youth was a big topic of conversation during our board meetings and one-on-one between the board members. And I think Boys and Girls Club of America overall, I think they became very focused on specific goals, which I think is very important. And I have also seen our board grow and diversify, which I think is very important. And our county just has grown so much, even in the past 24, 36 months. So just trying to anticipate the growth and making sure that we're able to provide services for as many children, teenagers as we can, I think is what we're focused on as well. And so, keeping up with the changes and always trying to not stay in one place. Yeah. But I think Will does a great job. He's a great leader, and building the relationships throughout the community is something that he does very well, and I think is what helps so much when people actually get to see what the focus is, what we're doing for the members, the club members. So Will does a great job of that, and then the board does a great job to follow the lead, and then it goes down to the staff as well. So it all just works very well.
Well, you hit on 2 important things. The strategic planning side of things, I think that's something that, like you said, we definitely focus a lot on, and Boys and Girls Clubs of America focuses a lot on that. And you've actually, as a board member, have been able to take part in our national conference, some other smaller conferences as well, and you've been able to see that movement, as we call it internally, nationwide. So what has been your takeaway for that? Because I think that's a unique experience that not everyone gets to see.
Yes, I was very fortunate to be able to attend the national conference in 2023, and we were able to do breakout sessions as board members, and not only learn more of the logistical side of it, what does our job really entail, how do we help make that movement move forward, as you mentioned, how do we help build relationships, true lasting relationships throughout the community, but we also got to see club members, and there's so many, and they're so talented, And it's great to see the people in the real world out in the media or so forth who were past club kids and things like that. So those conferences really help re-energize you as a board member, as a staff member, and come back and keep doing what you do day in and day out and remind you why you're doing it. It's for the kids, it's for our youth. And so I think that they're very important, and they really do a good job at highlighting our youth and why we do it.
And now we actually have, I don't know if you know this yet, but we have a young club member, a teen from Westside, who's going to be performing at the 2024 National Conference.
Amazing.
So we're really excited for her, and she actually got to get on the phone with our Boys and Girls Clubs of America CEO, Jim Clark, the other day, and he welcomed her to the whole conference, which is really cool. And then you hit on another important thing, and that's the community relationships. Obviously, we know that we can't do what we do without our partners and without the support throughout the community. And South State plays a huge role in that partnership. And I know that one thing that South State and Boys and Girls Clubs works on together is financial literacy programs. And that's kind of part of that workforce readiness pillar that you take part in. So talk to me a little bit about financial literacy, because I think that piece is something we don't get to talk about very much, and just the importance of the financial literacy programs.
Sure. I'd love to. And South State, I'm very lucky to work for an organization that allows us to be so involved in the community. So, I do want to thank South State Bank for allowing us to do this. And it's a great partnership between South State and the Boys and Girls Club of St. Lucie County. Yes, financial literacy is something that I'm very passionate about. A banker by day. And so we get to see firsthand our clients and their knowledge of financial literacy. And I think that, that's a big element that may be missing in our everyday educational system. So it is, I'm excited to provide that to the club members. And it's a piece where, someone can learn just your simple budgeting methods, or just income versus expenses, and what does that look like? How do you write a check? How do you fill out a deposit slip? It's the basics that working in my day job, a lot of individuals were lacking the knowledge, but it is something that is easy, that we could easily provide, and we're happy to provide this sort of information to our youth. And so very excited. We have we have several sessions coming up that we've partnered with that will provide not only to the club members, but to the staff as well. So it is just, it'll be a great year for financial literacy, and excited to bring, the basics and more information to you guys.
And how young do you feel like the financial literacy program should start? Because when you think financial literacy, you definitely think a little older, you think teens, things like that. But how young do you think they should go?
I think as young as you can form a habit, because I think a lot of our financial spending or otherwise saving, it's about forming habits. So I think if you're old enough to form a habit, you can make your bed, brush your teeth. If you're going to get an allowance, you should form a habit to save some of it. Know how you're spending it. So yeah, I think if we can get elementary age children in front of them, it would be very helpful.
And this kind of goes hand in hand as far as the teens go in our workforce readiness programs, because we do provide that stipend program for our teens. So it kind of is a seamless partnership, and it kind of just adds more holistic approach to, like, okay, you're doing the job for workforce readiness, you're getting this stipend, and now you're going to learn how to handle that stipend and that money.
Absolutely. So, workforce readiness is another thing that I'm very passionate about, and I get to chair for the organization. And yes, over the summer we served over 600 teens, and with the thank you to our partners in the community that are helping us provide these stipends for the teens. But they're able to, as you mentioned, earn a stipend as they're working through their summer. And what a great thing for them to be able to build a budget or know exactly how they're going to spend or save that stipend at a young age. Which I was never lucky enough to have that information. But I think it's imperative that we share it with them and we share our knowledge.
And I think that applies to any path, right?
Absolutely.
Every path encounters money at some point in a personal or a professional way. So I think that's a life skill that they can take with them in all ways.
Absolutely.
So as far as workforce readiness, I know that you've taken part in some of our programs in the past. You've come in and you've talked to the teens about your personal career path. Why do you feel like that's important? Why do you feel like these programs are vital for our teens, especially to take part in for their futures?
I think it's important because the exposure aspect of it is important. I think you think of a banker, you think of a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse, and you get to kind of see them surface level. But if you speak to someone in that occupation, you may get to learn a little bit more about what their day-to-day may look like and what our journey was to get there. I was happy to provide my story that summer that I came to speak with the class because my story is a little different. And as you know, our journey typically isn't a straight line from A to B. There's some bobs and weaves there in between. But you know, I started in banking as a teller. So I was in a very introductory role, and I was able to take different positions within the organization and move my way into my current position as a commercial relationship manager. In between, I was going to night school to get my accounting degree, and I was fortunate enough to work for a company like South State Bank that allowed me to do that. And not only that, but they provided financial help with tuition reimbursement and things like that. Where I knew that I was able to repay my studies through that program. And so it's you know, sometimes you think, oh, they went to school and then they got the job and that's it. And there's a lot of things in between that I was very happy to share with the students and answer their questions and what my day looks like in the life of a banker. And so I was very happy to do that. And I think it's very important for them to learn those different aspects, and they may realize they like an occupation they didn't think of otherwise, or vice versa. Okay, this is not for me. I need to you know, go look at something else. And so this is the time in their life to explore.
And I think a lot of times too, when a teen or a child hears the words like client relationship manager, that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't.
They don't know what that is. And a lot of times they don't know to think about things like tuition reimbursement or some of those benefits. I don't think I even knew the term benefit until I got out into the workforce. And so I think just introducing them to these terms at such a young age and just getting them comfortable with it, it makes all the difference. And I think the teens that are taking part in Youth of the Year, a lot of times they come in and they're like, I want to be a pilot, and that is it. That's all I want to be. And it's honestly very impressive, because when I was that age, I didn't know what I wanted to be. I had no idea. So I think that speaks to the program and also speaks to the workforce readiness. Kind of goes hand in hand.
Yes, I agree. I think that the workforce readiness component of the program gives them a nice outlet to explore that. And it provides you know, different avenues. For example, for the Youth of the Year, there's a leadership day where they'll be able to meet different individuals in our community in different professions that they show interest in. So it definitely provides them different avenues to explore those endeavors, those you know.
So this year's Leadership Day, I know, is coming up.
Yes.
I want to hear a little bit about that, because I know in the past they've done some amazing things. They've gone up in planes, they've gone grocery shopping, they've done so many incredible things thanks to the partners that we have in the community. Can you touch a little bit on what they're going to get to experience this year?
Absolutely. So Leadership Day for Youth of the Year, we really try to fit the day to the candidate's interest. And so, this year we have candidates that are interested in electrical, someone is interested in a flight medic, nursing, cosmetology. So, we'll visit an airport, we'll do some flight medic, flight surgeon. We'll visit A1 roof truss, and we'll hear about carpentry or engineering.
Very cool.
Nelson's Family Farm, who is always so willing to help us.
Yes.
And Elite Electric, Kaiser University, and Leslie, always willing to help us. And of course, IRSC for the cosmetology component.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a little bit of everything a little bit of something for everyone of our candidates, so that they are exposed to those sectors of the economy. So I'm very excited about that. That's
Yes.
Happening at the end of this month, and so the teens are also very excited about it.
Yeah. That day is always so fun, and I've only gotten to go once. I've been trying to go more, so I'm hoping I get to go this year, because last year I got to go, and like you mentioned, Nelson's Family Farms, they leave with a whole bag of groceries by the time they leave, which is just so fun. And I think they learn so much. And from what I understand, this year there's going to be a panel component where they get to share maybe their speeches or maybe a bit of their story. Is that right?
Yes, typically at the end of Leadership Day, we'll have a panel for any of the, maybe there's some areas that we didn't get to touch because we only get one day, and there'll be an interview component. So it's two-sided, where the candidates get to ask the panels questions, and then the panel gets to ask the candidate questions.
Very cool.
And so it opens up for discussion for both sides of the aisle. So it's good for them to experience.
Yeah, that's great practice for the competition
Absolutely.
itself. And for those that don't know about the competition itself, talk a little bit about the process. I know that they have to do their speech, obviously, and then there is that Q&A sort of portion. So talk me through that a little bit.
Sure. There's actually 3 components. They do have to write an essay. There's an interview component, and then there's a speech component. And so we had club competitions for the different clubs that participated, and then ultimately we got one winner from each club. During the competition day, they were able to deliver their speech, and then it was followed by a short interview from the panel. And so now we have 6 candidates from our 6 clubs who are participating, and they're still working on their speech. They're fine-tuning it until the county competition. They're fine-tuning their interview skills as well as their essay. So it's a continuous work in progress until county competition day.
Yeah, and the stakes are high, because we have had 2 state winners the past 2 years in our West Side team, Mia. So I know this program has kind of been at a high for a while. And I know we have 6 amazing candidates, which we kind of glazed right over that. But this is the first time that I know of that we've had 6 candidates instead of 4.
Right.
This year we added our high schools, which is only going to make the judges' job that much harder.
Yes.
So I do not envy their job. But I think there's another component to all of this, which is a bit of advocacy, because I feel like in the past, part of their speeches and part of their platform is really advocating for a teen-related issue. We've talked about mental health, gun violence, immigration, all types of different topics in the past. How do you feel like that affects the program, and how do you think that plays a role?
I think it empowers them. It empowers their voice. It allows us to know what's important to them and what they want to advocate for. So it serves as a two-way street, where it gives them a voice and it gives us an opportunity to listen to what they're passionate about and what they would like to advocate for.
And we kind of touched on it a little bit, obviously, because you got involved in the organization because of Youth of the Year. But what would you say to someone that's considering attending this event or getting involved in this program?
I would say come join us. We're having our county celebration February 23rd, and it's a great opportunity to hear our teens of St. Lucie County and hear their hard work. I mean, they've been working on this for months, and it's going to be a very exciting show. They'll be able to showcase their talent because they're very talented individuals.
Yep.
And you get to hear what they're passionate about and what what they want to advocate for. So I would invite them to come and to come with an open mind and open heart and listen to our teens.
And going back a step to the advocacy component, from what I understand, the candidates are taking part in Monday's Martin Luther King Day parade. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Our candidates will be leading the Boys and Girls Club section of the parade. And they've actually had an opportunity to deliver their speeches, be keynote speakers at different events. And so I believe our Fort Pierce individuals, our candidates, were able to deliver their speeches yesterday, and then our Port St. Lucie candidates will be able to deliver more speeches today. So they're very busy practicing and honing their skills. And the Martin Luther King Parade is going to be just another opportunity that they get to be leaders within the Youth of the Year, and and invite so that other teens and youths can see it as well.
And if someone wanted to get involved, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, I know there's quite a few different opportunities as far as maybe coaching or getting involved in Leadership Day. So what are all those possibilities for maybe a local business owner or a community individual that might want to get involved?
Sure. I mean, there's still an opportunity for this year as well. Our donations are for the program, and they all go for the program. I would encourage anyone to visit the Boys and Girls Club St. Lucie County website, specifically for the Youth of the Year program. And we have donations, donation opportunities there. But if there's anyone who also wants to serve with their time, next year there will be coaching opportunities. And that's just more one-on-one with the candidates and helping them hone their skills.
Which is such a direct impact.
Yes.
So anybody looking for a direct impact, Youth of the Year is a great way to get involved.
Program.
And so you mentioned that the event is on February 23rd at Treasure Coast
Lexus. So thank you to Amber Woods again this year for
Yes.
providing the location and venue for us.
And is there anything else we can expect at the event? Is there going to be music? We're going to hear from all the candidates.
We'll hear from all the candidates. We'll get to hear their amazing speeches. Yes, we always like to have fun at these events.
Yeah.
So just encourage everyone to come out and celebrate our candidates with us, and we finally get to hear who our winner will be.
Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for joining me today, because we got to cover so many topics. Something that we never get to talk about, I feel like, is financial literacy. So I appreciate that perspective, and we appreciate all that you and South State do for our clubs and our kids.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And if anyone at home wants to learn more about our programs or Youth of the Year or any events coming up, I encourage you all to visit our website. It's www.bgcofslc.org. Thank you.